vaccinations under one roof.
Bringing you all the news from here at home and across the world. As always, this is Newsfirst Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Today is the 22nd of January 2024. For the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I am Rochelle Thamodara, and as usual, let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Leader of Our People's Party, Saman Pereira, and 4 others shot dead in Bellata. Police attributes shooting to a gang war. Launch an independent investigation into deaths resulting from police shootings. BASL stresses. Suspend and review Operation Yuktiya immediately, says UNHRC. Also expresses deep concern over treatment of arrested drug users. Online safety bill to be discussed in Parliament tomorrow. Comprehensive analysis of the bill is required. Postpone the discussion, stresses SJB. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads consecration of Temple of Lord Ram in Ayodhya.
In our top story for tonight, and a story that has sent shockwaves across the entire country. A shooting near the Bellata entrance to the Southern Expressway this morning resulted in the death of 5 people, including the leader of the Ape Jana Bala Paksha, or Our People's Party, Saman Pereira.
The incident occurred when the group was on their way to the Tangol High Court for a hearing of a criminal case. Now, Sri Lanka police has attributed this shooting to a dispute between 2 rival gangs.
The time was around 8 a.m. Location, Kahawatha, along the Bellata-Valasmula Road, in close vicinity to the Southern Expressway entrance. When a group on a Defender SUV arrived at a shop, another group in an intercooler SUV that arrived at the scene opened fire at the first group. A CCTV system nearby had recorded footage several minutes before the shooting of the SUV giving chase of the Defender carrying the victims.
We have not identified the gunman as of yet, and neither have we ascertained what sort of issue caused this. We suspect it was an act of an organized crime gang. We are, however, continuing to probe this matter to ascertain if there is a drug-related dispute in this.
On the 5th of June 2022, An individual named Asun Chamara and 3 others who were travelling in a vehicle were shot dead. The Tangol police arrested 5 people from time to time in connection to this shooting, including the gunman and those who aided the crime. Illekuttige Samira Madhushankar alias Suratala from Bentota was among those suspects. Upon interrogation, he had revealed that Saman Pereira had provided him protection. Saman Pereira and the others were on their way for a hearing of that particular case today. Reports claim 2 men who are connected to a court case concerning a death of an individual named Asela Sampath from Kudavella, which occurred on the 5th of June 2023, were among those who were killed today. Saman Pereira was a candidate at the last presidential election. His party contested in all districts at the last general election, and it was through the votes gained by the party that a parliamentary seat was allocated for Venerable Athuraliye Ratanathera. Even before several hours passed following the shooting, the house of Saman Pereira, located in Vallava Kurunagala, was inspected by the police with the use of police canines. Venerable Vedinigama Vimalatissa Thera, who was the secretary of the Ape Janabala party when a dispute over its parliamentary seat occurred following the previous general election, was also present at the house. The Thera was missing for several days when the controversy over the parliamentary seat arose, sparking kidnapping rumours at the time as well.
There is an element of the state here and also certain enemies. You will make enemies through politics. We need to learn to stay protected. Internal disputes have arisen too. The argument over the party's parliamentary seat still exists. It was being balanced. Various political parties are looking to secure support or even a parliamentary seat. The chairman is swayed by what people say. That strengthened our enemies. I was asked to secure him a weapon for his protection. We stopped that because holding a weapon could result in death. I said I won't support it. He said he won't have protection when he travels to the case in Tangol. We are also unsafe. The state establishment must be held accountable for this. He was of the opinion that he would be killed on the day of the court case. This information was exposed during conversations with major political parties. I did not give it away, but he did. That was a mistake. They are in crisis. Therefore, they will use any means necessary to get rid of any alternative. In 6 to 7 months, something bigger than that, what we fear will happen in the country. I believe that the country will see better days. Politics and the underworld are linked. They are not exclusive.
Is there a political motive behind today's killing?
There has been no information to support that there was a political motive for now. Based on what has been revealed so far, this is an act of organized criminals.
8 shootings and 10 deaths have been reported from various parts of the island over the past few weeks. A shooting took place on the 18th of December at a nightclub in Kiribathgoda. Roshan Indika alias Manna Roshan and his aide were killed on the 25th of December in Tunnana Padukka. A police sergeant killed in Palana Valigama on the 31st of December during a mission to apprehend a group said to be linked to the crimes of notorious organized criminal Harakkata. A sub-inspector was also injured. A home in Kalamatia, falling under the Hungama Police Division, shot at on the 3rd of January. 34-year-old father of 1 killed in a shooting in Koratota, Kaduwela on the 11th of January. Deceased was suspected of a murder. On the 15th of January, a dispute between 2 underworld gangs culminated in a shooting of 1 person at the Mihijaya Sevana, Randiya Uyana housing scheme. 1 person dies in Narambala following a shooting by a police sub-inspector on the 18th of January. Another shooting in Telidzavila Matara on the 20th of January. How are shootings of this nature still occurring, even when a special operation to curb crime is currently underway? Who are these criminals?
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has issued a statement requesting authorities to conduct an independent investigation into the recent fatalities that have occurred through police firing.
This statement was issued with the signature of the BASL President Kaushalya Navaratna and Secretary Isuru Balapatabendi. BASL in the statement emphasizes the importance of law enforcement action against drug-related activities, strictly adhering to legal protocol. They have also paid close attention to a statement made by the Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas at a recent press conference. BASL says that the Minister has announced at this press conference his intention to publicize a list of individuals purportedly obstructing the operation. The statement further stated that the minister claims that a select group of NGO operators and lawyers were corresponding with overseas entities in this regard. BASL emphasizes that this is an irresponsible and misleading statement made by a government minister which harms the crucial work performed by lawyers on behalf of the people. The statement further mentions that legal professionals, according to statutory rights, execute their duties lawfully. BASL reminds in the statement that the justice system, which provides a vital check and balance system, should not be attacked for political point scoring. BASL has emphasized in its statement that it strongly condemns the divisive and deceptive rhetoric about them as they are dedicated to securing the rule of law.
Meanwhile, the Labour Struggle Centre expressed these views at a press conference which was held earlier today.
කවුද මේ පාතාලේ පෝෂණය කරන්නේ මේ දේශපාලන තන්ත්‍රය මේ බිස්නස් ලයිට් එක ඇතුලේ තමයි මේ දූෂිත
Who is giving ammunition to the mafia? It's this corrupted group of politicians. Politicians in Colombo are one unique community and they are all interconnected to each other. These networks exist among them. These hitmen have been given the guns of these politicians and that is why crime is running rampant. They are trying to spread violence in society by calling it the underworld. If we are to address this, we need to explain to the society what is going to happen. That is why the label unknown gunman is being used instead of the label of protester. Then the unknown gunman is introduced to society. He will be in the people's mind. Then this unknown gunman will shoot at the journalist in 3 to 4 months. When the election campaigns begin, difficulties arise for the government, and when protests arise, then this unknown gunman will shoot at union leaders, politicians at political rallies and speakers at meetings. This unknown gunman is a threat to society. We see this threat clearly.
සමාජයට එල්ල කළා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි මේ තරජිනේ පැහැදිලිව දකිනවා.
910 suspects have been taken into custody through the Yuktiya operation over the past 24 hours. The Minister of Public Security, or rather the Ministry of Public Security, said that there were 676 suspects out of the total related to drug offences. 234 suspects who were on the list referred to the Crimes Division have also been arrested during this period. The police stated that they seized 65.3 kilograms of heroin, 12.6 kilograms of cannabis and other narcotics from the arrested suspects.
Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas says that the public has become more closer to the police due to the Yuktiya operation.
The relationship between the police and the public had been sour in the past, but I think that the people have become more closer to the police because of the Operation Yuktiya. I get many complaints from the motor traffic department officials regarding different issues, and I always tell them to implement the law. When a car is pulled over in other countries, the officers greet the driver, ask them their license and give them their ticket. We need to train our police officers to do the same.
The Minister of Public Security made this statement in the pilot project of using CCTV cameras to monitor wrongs done by vehicle owners. The program was held in the police CCTV division in Alcott Lane, Colombo.
We can
get all the information of the vehicle owners of whom we monitor from our CCTV cameras in a matter of seconds. If he or she likes, they can get a spot fine and release their driver's license on the same day. Also, as we just started the monitoring program today, we will give a week's time for the public to adapt to this program. The police expects to commence fines and legal proceedings to people who commit motor traffic wrongs from the 1st of February.
පොලිසිය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ පෙබරවාරි මාසේ 1 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා රථවාහන වැරදි කරන අයට විරුද්ධව දඩ සහ නඩු පෙරවීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියට යන්න.
On to more headline-making news. A high-level group of United Nations experts have called on the government of Sri Lanka to immediately halt Operation Yuktiya, its anti-narcotics drive that has resulted in more than 30,000 people being arrested in just over a month. The UN experts expressed alarm at the heavy security-driven approach of Sri Lanka's drug response, and they called on authorities to immediately suspend and review so-called Operation Yuktiya and to focus on policies based on health and human rights, according to the statement. It also adds that drug users have human rights and they deserve to live a life with dignity without facing further discrimination and stigmatization. The experts include the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention comprising Priya Gopalan, Chair and Rapporteur, Matthew Gillett, Vice Chair on Communications, Miriam Estrada Castillo and Mumba Malila, Margaret Satterthwaite, Special Rapporteur on the Independence of Judges and Lawyers, Tlaleng Mofoken, Special Rapporteur on the right of everyone to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. The special rapporteurs and working groups are part of what is known as the special procedures of the Human Rights Council. They deplored reported cases of arbitrary arrests of thousands of drug offenders from marginalized socio-economic groups and the detention of hundreds in compulsory military-run rehabilitation centers. Torture and ill treatment were also reported during the security operation known as Yuktiya. The current context of severe repression against suspected drug offenders is deeply worrying, according to the experts. They stressed that rehabilitation must be conducted from a harm reduction perspective, respecting the autonomy and informed consent of drug users, including the right to refuse medication. It also said compulsory rehabilitation centers should be closed immediately and replaced by voluntary, evidence-based, rights-based and community-based social services. And the experts also said that they are ready to provide technical cooperation. They further urged Sri Lankan authorities to investigate thoroughly and impartially any allegations of torture, ill treatment and denial of due process and fair trial rights. The statement by the expert also adds irregularities in the judicial process of sending people to rehabilitation centers should also be investigated, unquote. They further called on the government to review its current legislation on drug offences and to end the involvement of armed forces in drug control and treatment activities in line with international human rights law and standards. Taking a look at more news from here at home. The Supreme Court today ordered that the fundamental rights petition brought by His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith, Archbishop of Colombo, seeking an order preventing the appointment of Deshabandhu Tennakone to the post of Inspector General of Police, be called for consideration on the 31st of this month.
The petition was called today before the three-judge bench consisting of Justices Preeti Padman Surasena, Achala Vengapuli and Mahinda Samewardana. The petition requests that Deshabandhu Tennakone be dismissed from the position of Acting Inspector General of Police and an interim restraining order be issued preventing his appointment as the Inspector General of Police. As two petitions filed by two other parties on this matter are scheduled to be called on the 31st, Additional Solicitor General Nereen Pulle, who appeared on behalf of the Attorney General, requested the court to summon this petition on the same day. President's Counsel Shamil Pereira appeared on behalf of the petitioner, while President's Counsel Romesh De Silva appeared for respondent Deshabandhu Tennakone. Deshabandhu Tennakone, the Attorney General, Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardana and the Constitutional Council have been named as respondents in the petition.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe stressed the urgency of reforming the global financial architecture now more than ever before. He said this while addressing the third Southern Summit of the group of G77 and China held in Kampala, Uganda.
President pointed out that the contemporary international debt resolution architecture is more suited for a world where the Paris Club and London Club dominated global debt resolution.
As we commemorate the 60th year of the establishment of the G77 and China, it is essential that we remain united as the largest grouping of developing countries in the multilateral and continue to articulate the position of the global south to overcome the multidimensional challenges that we face. We are meeting here today at a time when the world is facing a multitude of challenges. They vary from escalation in conflicts, repercussions of the pandemic, climate-related natural disasters, and the vagaries of the global financial markets, among many others. These developments impact disproportionately and adversely on the vulnerable economies of the G77 members. The need for reform of the global financial architecture is more urgent than ever. The contemporary international debt resolution architecture is more suited for a world where the Paris Club and London Club dominated global debt resolution. Today, global debt, and particularly debt in the developing world, is dominated by the international bond markets and non-Paris Club lenders. When available financial resources are siphoned out as debt service, we are unable to spend on essential public services and human development measures, which in turn impacts on the SDG targets. The common framework has also been inadequate as a forum to provide speedy debt resolution. This disconnect between the architecture and reality has led to delays in resolution of recent sovereign debt distress in a large number of our countries, including my own.
President Wickremesinghe met officials of many nations as well.
Taking a look back at news from here at home, once again, the controversial online safety bill is to be presented in Parliament tomorrow. However, there is much opposition from many parties regarding this bill. Let's take a look.
Subject to the amendments presented by the Supreme Court, the online safety bill has received the approval of Sectoral Oversight Committee on Media, Youth, Heritage and New Citizens. The approval for this was obtained when the Sectoral Oversight Committee on Media, Youth, Heritage and New Citizens met in Parliament today under the chairmanship of MP Lalit Warnakumara. But the MPs of the Samaga Jana Balawege representing the committee had emphasised that the adoption of drafts should be postponed as it needs further study. The Sri Lanka Press Institute and its affiliated organisations have expressed their concern regarding the impact of the proposed bill on freedom of expression. They emphasised in a statement that there are a number of controversial issues in the draft that are problematic for journalists and a majority of the community.
A group of senior IT professionals has warned that the online safety bill may be used to cripple opposition election campaigns, suppress journalists reporting on corruption and even severely impact the IT industry. IT professionals of the People Sri Lanka has also launched an SMSE Referendum which allows Sri Lankans to use an SMS message to voice their concerns on the online safety bill and other key policies. IT professionals for the People Sri Lanka has warned that the online safety bill may cripple election campaigns, suppress journalists and negatively impact the IT industry. They have therefore launched an SMSE referendum allowing Sri Lankans to use an SMS message to voice their concerns on key policies such as the online safety bill. The group pointed out that Sri Lanka already has 7 laws that place restrictions on free speech and therefore the online safety bill is not necessary. Thus, citizens can participate in the SMSE referendum by sending an SMS message to 076 700 1001 as OSB yes if the bill should be passed in Parliament or as OSB no if the bill should not be. The project is part of a broader direct democracy initiative which can one day lead to citizens being able to directly vote on government policies. This system is particularly useful when citizens believe that political representatives are no longer in alignment with their interests.
Newsfirst with the people.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Reach beyond boundaries with Edlocate. Explore education across 6 destinations under one roof. Explore education across 6 destinations: England, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Malaysia and Vietnam under one roof on 27 January from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Taj Samudra. Speak directly with university representatives. Scholarships available. Calling 077 177 0361.
Welcome back to the news. The Drs Trade Union Alliance for Medical and Civil Rights has complained to the Criminal Investigations Department today about another case of the discovery of fake letters related to questionable transactions that took place within the Ministry of Health.
මේ ව්‍යාජ ලේඛනවල ඉතාමත්ම පැහැදිලිව සඳහන් වෙනවා 2022 අවුරුද්දට අගෝස්තු හා 20.
These fake documents clearly show that during the follow-up by the Drug Regulatory Authority that they have not officially issued such letters. The Drug Regulatory Authority has given permission to manufacture drugs in Sri Lanka or import drugs to Sri Lanka during the period of August 2022 and February-March 2023. They have used different numbers in creating these articles. Those numbers are not mentioned in the official documents from the Drug Regulatory Authority or the Medical Supply Unit. It has been confirmed from the preliminary investigations. Also, it must be said that the public's trust in health is falling today in this country. The reason for this is that even though the ministers and secretaries have changed, the officials involved in the corrupt transactions are still in the same positions. Although it is mentioned in this article that a drug used for epilepsy has been approved for production in Sri Lanka, it is currently reported that such a letter was not issued by the Drug Regulatory Authority. Therefore, after extensive research on this letter circulating on social media and various WhatsApp accounts of doctors, we questioned whether this was a fake letter. Who did this and where is the factory issuing these fake letters? What are their ulterior motives to misuse the public's money in this very simple and careless manner without any fear or doubt? We have requested that an investigation be conducted to find out how these fake letters were created.
තරල විදියට ඉතාමත්ම නොසලකිලිමත් විදියට සහ කිසිදු බියක් සැකක් නැතුව මේ ව්‍යාජ ලිපි නිර්මාණය වුණේ කොහොමද කියලා පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වන්න කියලා අපි ඉල්ලීමක් කළා.
Residents of Mahavilachya in Anuradhapura staged a demonstration today demanding a solution to the elephant problem.
The protest began following a religious ritual at the Oyamadua temple, praying to God to find a solution to the problem of wild elephants. Later, they arrived at Mahavilachya Divisional Secretariat. Police officers, including the Oyamadua police station chief, also arrived at the scene. Later, they handed over a memorandum to the divisional secretary regarding the elephant problem, and as per the request, the divisional secretary informed the wildlife director regarding this.
By 5 p.m. you can't go to the field. Elephants come to the field and beat people to death. So we took to the streets today requesting a solution for this. We are not provided with crackers. A farmer has no protection, so how can we live? What to do with 2 elephant crackers? Can you shoot elephants? No one is providing answers for this, not even an official does.
6 acres have been cultivated. Recently, about 40 elephants came and destroyed about 1.5 acres. We called the wildlife officials. They even switched off their phones. Later, the OIC was contacted and 2 officers chased the elephants from the plantation. 6 months ago, my whole shop was destroyed and the pumpkins were eaten too. They said that they will provide aid, but nothing was provided. The wildlife director did not arrive at the location. However, the group later dispersed upon the promise of a wildlife official that he would provide solutions to the elephant issue.
National Civil Organisation Front protested in front of the head office of the Ceylon Electricity Board against the suspension of the employees of CEB.
Some of the employees actually did come to work even though they were suspended. This is the nature of Ranil Wickramasinghe's government. 165 employees have been suspended from work as of today. We would like to ask the Minister and the Cabinet, why are they silent about it? We would like to ask why they are hunting down employees like this.
Meanwhile, civil society organizations, including Electricity Consumers Association, engaged in a silent protest this afternoon in front of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka in Kollupitiya.
PUCSL should stand with the general public. If they do so, recommendations to reduce the electricity bills by 40% will be presented to them. The authorities should have a sense of duty towards the general public of this country to reduce the electricity bill to a rate that is affordable for the public.
In news from neighbouring India, Prana Pratishtha ceremony or the consecration of the Ram temple in Ayodhya was held today at the temple premises in Uttar Pradesh of India. The ceremony took place with the presence of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Ayodhya is home to Lord Ram, who is considered the embodiment of courage and virtue. Considered as his birthplace, the Ram Lalla statue in the Ram temple was consecrated today. According to foreign media, around 8,000 guests were invited to the Prana Pratishtha ceremony. Foreign media also reported that only the ground floor of the temple was opened during today's ceremony, while the rest of the construction will be completed by the end of the year. The present temple site of Ayodhya was previously occupied by an Islamic mosque named Babri Masjid, which was built in the year of 1528. The Indian government had to go into lengths of closing down the site after the long-standing conflicts between Hindus and Muslims regarding the original rights of the land escalated in 1992. However, in 2019, the Supreme Court of India ruled that the land in question should be reserved for the construction of the Hindu temple.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump as the Republican candidate.
DeSantis quit ahead of the Republican primary election in New Hampshire, where he was polling in the single digits. DeSantis on Sunday said he did not, quote-unquote, have a clear path to victory. Nikki Haley, Trump's last remaining challenger, said she was the only one able to beat U.S. President Joe Biden. Haley will go head-to-head with Trump in New Hampshire tomorrow, the second in a series of state-by-state contests to pick a Republican nominee for the November general election. In a nearly 5-minute-long video on X released yesterday, DeSantis said his campaign had left it all out on the field. He also said, quote-unquote, if there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. The Florida governor said he was endorsing Donald Trump, who is the clear frontrunner after winning the first contest in Iowa with 51% of the vote. DeSantis said it had become clear that a majority of Republican voters, quote-unquote, want to give Donald Trump another chance. He acknowledged disagreements with the former president, but said Trump was superior to President Joe Biden.
Nearly 90 deaths have been recorded across the United States after the country faced ferocious winter storms for the past week.
least 25 people in Tennessee and 16 in Oregon, which remains under a state of emergency following severe ice storms. Thousands of people also remain without power across wide regions of the country. Icy conditions are expected to continue until the middle of the week. According to foreign media reports, a total of 89 weather-related fatalities have been recorded across the country over the past week. While the death toll has been greatest in Tennessee and Oregon, fatalities have also been reported in Illinois, Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Washington, Kentucky, Wisconsin, New York, New Jersey, and elsewhere. Colleges and universities in the state have delayed students' return from winter break due to the conditions. While electricity has largely been restored in areas of the US that had lost it due to the winter weather, tens of thousands of people remain without power across the country. As of yesterday afternoon, the total included nearly 10,000 people in Oregon, 8,000 in North Carolina, 7,000 in California, and 4,300 in Kentucky. Icy conditions and chilling winds are expected to continue at least through the beginning of the week. A thaw is expected after that, with some meteorologists warning that warm air and rain could cause flooding in parts of the Midwest and northeastern US.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching and good night.
Good night.